Higgins said he would come by.
And he had left around the same time as you?
Yes.
And had Brian Higgins been to your house before?
I believe he was at my house for a high school graduation party.
And to your knowledge, had Mr. Higgins been over to your house at any point prior?
He may have been at our house for a graduation party, but I wasn't sure if he had ever been inside because the party was outside. It was a cookout.
And so where was this graduation party at your house?
It was actually out back. It was more of a cookout type thing.
And so as far as you can recall, prior to January 28, 2022, had Mr. Higgins been physically sort of inside your house for anything beyond using the bathroom?
Besides that graduation party, I don't believe he had ever been at my house.
Now, Brian Albert had a weight room someplace in the house, right?
Yes.
And a gym.
I guess he called it a home gym.
Where was that?
In the basement.
Had you ever been down to that basement before?
Yes, one time.
When was that?
That was during the twins' graduation party. Summertime.
So if Brian Albert testified that you've never been in the basement, that would not be accurate.
Objection.
Sustained.
You've indicated in a prior testimony that you've never been upstairs in Brian's house, correct?
When you say upstairs, you're talking second floor?
Correct.
Yes. No.
Isn't it true that Brian Higgins has never been upstairs in your house?
Prior to that night?
Ever. Including that night, specifically.
I don't think that's true, no. One point, I may have shown Brian Higgins some photos that were in my son's room that were upstairs.
But at some point, you had moved out of that kitchen area with Brian Albert, correct?
Well, I briefly went and looked at some photos.
Right. So you moved out of that area with Brian Albert alone to go to a different room.
Yes, and I think his wife, Nicole, might have popped in the room for a second, but it was brief.
I know at one point my husband and his friend Brian were in our family room, so I kind of went in there and was talking to them. We had some shelves on the wall that just had a bunch of pictures, old pictures from our wedding or when Brian was in the Marine, so we would just kind of look at them, laugh, and talking about them. We stood in there for a little bit talking, and then eventually we just moved into the kitchen area where everybody else was.
You indicated that the photos that you saw were on the first floor living room area. Is that right?
I believe that's where they were, yes.
So the only floor downstairs from the first floor would be what?
The basement.
And the only floor upstairs from the basement would be what?
The first floor.
If the photos are on the first floor, Mr. Higgins,
Yes.
the only floor beneath it is the basement.
Okay.
And someone says, we went upstairs to look at the photos, where would they have to be?
Well, who said they went upstairs?
If Brian Albert said you went upstairs to look at the photos, where would you have to be?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you and Brian Higgins go down to the basement?
No, I don't remember going to the basement.
You don't remember going to the basement, or you didn't go to the basement?
No, I didn't go to the basement.
Did Brian Higgins go to the basement?
Not that I know of.
He may have been at our house for a graduation party, but I wasn't sure if he had ever been inside.
Besides that graduation party, I don't believe he had ever been at my house.
Now, Brian Albert had a weight room someplace in the house, right?
Yes.
And a gym.
I guess he called it a home gym.
Where was that?
In the basement.